Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, today is one of those days where there's not much learning to do. It's kind of like I have to finish the hat and I have to finish the clothing, and it's just the same pencils so that they match. So I thought I would take the time, well, story time, because really there's not much I could teach you. You have to just color. Well, let's start with the question from yesterday. What is the first thing I'm going to do when I get out of lockdown? And I gave it some thought. I looked down at my hands and I'm like, I'm going to get a manicure. And I think the second thing I'm going to do when I get out of lockdown is, first of all, I have to go to Hobby Lobby, because this is the longest amount of time it's been since I've been in Hobby Lobby. And that's my happy place. It makes my world normal to walk up and down the crafts, and it just puts everything into perspective for me. There's a lot of controversy with Hobby Lobby. I know this. I don't care. I really don't care if the owner's wife, God will protect her. I'm glad she thinks God will protect her. I hope God will protect everybody. So kudos to her. I'm not interested in the rest of it. But those are going to be my two places, and I have some like personal shopping to do. Like for my other hobbies, I have to go to the fish store, the aquarium shop, and I have, just little things. I want to shop in public. That's without the fear of catching something. I miss that. Well, okay, so what story did I pick out? I'm going to tell you about my best friends. And in life, if you have one best friend, you are the luckiest person in the world. I am so blessed I had five. Each one of them different, each one of them so totally unique to my life. Now, unfortunately, two have passed away. One not too long ago, and one several years ago. Somebody I knew since I was, well, both of them, since I was a little child. Like, I'm talking like one I've known since I was like two, and the other one I've known since I was in second grade. So we're talking, they are ingrained in my soul. Then there's Annie. And Annie I met when I was probably, close to 30, around that age, in there. I was on the internet, and it was back in the dinosaur days where they didn't even have like Google, if you could imagine it. We didn't even have that. We're talking about these little um, message boards that were out in space that I don't even know how to even get to now, if they even existed. And the one place that I went to was called Rec Pets Herps, and it stands for um, Rescued Pets Herpetology. And of course, it was Reptile Rescue. And I would read the boards there like every day, and over, this one girl, Annie, was her posts would catch my eye, and just I would read them, and I wouldn't really respond. One day she was fighting with somebody, and I got this like really strong urge to pummel the person that she was fighting with. And so I stuck up for her. She didn't know me, I didn't know her. And we went back and forth, sort of together against this guy, and that was it. Well, not too long after that, Annie was fighting again. And like Robin of Batman and Robin, there I was, and I was defending her. She was way wiser than any of these people on the board. She knows her animal rescue. After about the third time, or maybe the fourth, of me coming in and defending her, that's when we got on a more personal level, and we started passing personal notes back and forth to each other. And we just got along. There was something there that we just got along. And we started moving through the internet places together, as friends, just internet friends. And I don't know, we had become really close, like through emails and stuff, and then we exchanged phone numbers and we'd talk on the phone. And one day we decided that we wanted to meet, which is crazy, like just getting up and going. And I am not a traveler, but I decided I was going to go to her state, which was all the way across the United States. She's in California, I was in New York, and the two of us were going to actually come to Vegas. So I got on a plane, which I have done maybe a handful of times in my life, flying by myself. I'm not exactly the most independent person. I like my husband next to me because I get lost everywhere I go. And I got on a plane. But the one thing Annie didn't know, and I knew, was what I looked like. We didn't have like, oh, you could just take a picture and pass it on the internet. It wasn't like that. I had seen her picture on in a magazine or something like that, and that's how I knew what she looked like. She was clueless. And what else she didn't know was Annie and I were doppelgangers. Now, it's rare that you even meet your doppelganger, and if you don't know what that is, it's somebody who is like your twin, but you're not related. So I knew, and she didn't, and I thought it would be funny if I didn't tell her. And she asked me at the airport, well, what are you wearing? I said, don't worry, you'll see me, you know who I am. She's like, okay, you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm 100%. She's like, I'm wearing this. You sure? I'm like, Annie, when you see me, you'll know it's me. And I get to the baggage claim, and she comes walking out. I remember this like yesterday. She comes walking down the thing, and I had seen her, and she stopped dead tracks. She looked straight at me, and I remember her face going, she was just going, oh my God. And I started to laugh. And she's like, Lori? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And of course we hugged. And she's like, we didn't even have to say it. We just knew what each other was thinking. And she's like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, you never asked me. And we left the airport and we went to, I think it was Red Lobster. And we sat down at a table and our waitress came over. And this was literally we have like been together for 15 minutes. We were sitting in the restaurant and the waitress comes over and she looks at us and she goes, oh, I see we have twins here. And we started to laugh. So, of course, we talked about it the whole, beginning part of the trip. I was staying at her house, and then we were going to drive to Vegas for a girls' weekend. And we decided on the way to Vegas, we were going to stop off, and we bought the same outfit. And so we had a blast in Vegas together. Ended up, I had a friend who was here, so it wasn't only me. We met up with my other friend, my friend Jay, and his girlfriend. So it's not like we were out partying at bars, just the two of us. We were like with a small group of people. So we went to this bar, and we had the funniest time because we would be sitting there talking, and then guys would come up to us. And every time somebody came up just to talk, they weren't like, picking us up or anything. It was a friendly neighborhood bar. And every time we got into conversation with somebody, they would ask us like about being twins. And we would make up the craziest story because we're never going to see these people again. So I remember one guy, we were okay, this is what they said. We told them that this is the first time we were meeting, that we were twins, and that we was separated at birth. And then she came up with some sort of like wild story that, our father was like in the war and my mother was like his pen pal. And we just came up with the craziest stories, laughed our asses off the entire time that we were together. And that was, oh God, over 20 years ago, way over 25 years, probably. I can't even imagine life without this woman. She was just here not too long ago, and I was thinking about, wow, she has been such an integral part of my life. We did animal rescue together. I mean, it's talked about my animal rescue days. That's why I'm such an animal lover now. I did so much animal rescue. I used to be the director of an organization, and she was a director of another organization, and we used to work together all the time. And there was another organization that was from England, and the head guy from England was friends with both of us. So I don't remember, it was like a conference or something that our friend Andy and Andy, Andy came to the United States and he stayed at my house. I had never met him before. I was going by what Annie said because Annie had met him many times before. In fact, they spent a lot of time in Egypt doing rescue work in Egypt. And because you have to understand, like, it wasn't like pet rescue that we were doing. We were doing conservation work, like reptiles that were going to go extinct. And we would rescue these animals and get them into breeding programs. And so it was like although we did pet rescue, we also did a lot of other conservation work. And Andy did more than, like, he didn't deal with pets. He did almost purely conservation work. So he stayed at my house. Now, the thing was, when he was coming to my house, I was 9 months pregnant. And we're talking like he was there right the week before my due date. And I had never met this guy before. He was a little bit staunchy. He was from England, and you could just imagine like this English professor that if they cracked a smile, like his face would break off into pieces. Well, that's the type of personality he had. He was a little bit more animated in email because it's, when typing in the rescue groups, he was a little bit more personable. But when he got to my house, oh my God, it was like pulling teeth to get him to have a conversation that didn't have some sort of scientific anything. He was really flat. So here I am, 9 months pregnant, literally, like, how like you feel like total crap, right? Like the week before you deliver, everything hurts, you're tired, you are about as big as a house, and that was me. And I did not carry small. In fact, the child that I had was like 8.5 pounds. So I was not, and I'm only 5'1". And so let me tell you, I was like round. So the day before he left, the one thing that showed me he was half human and not like robot was he had a love of music. And there was of playing music. He was an amazing, fantastic guitar player with a lot of soul. And we went to this rare guitar shop. I took him there because I thought that he would really enjoy it, and he did. And he fell in love with this guitar. And that was at the beginning of the vacation. At the end of the vacation, he wanted to buy this guitar. Except this guitar was like $1,500 to $2,000. And there was a thing with the money exchange of how he was going to get that much money out of his life was different back then. It wasn't like, oh, I have a debit card that works in every country in the world. We had to go to the bank, and the bank had to approve it and contact the bank in England and yada yada, all that. So it was a much bigger deal. Well, on the day before he left, I didn't tell anybody. I went into labor. And I knew he really, really, really wanted this guitar. So I was like, all right, I got to do something with my day. I'll go around with him, even though I was contracting. But I didn't tell him that I was contracting. I didn't say a word to him. about it. I would just turn around if I was having a contraction, and well, this guy, we took my middle child, and my middle child was a little bit anxious about. She was only like not even 3 yet. She was a little bit anxious about becoming a big sister. And if you could just imagine a staunchy British guy that probably has never even seen a child in his life, let alone been stuck with one the entire day. He was not a family person. Well, she decided to throw the biggest hissy fit. Oh my God. Just melted in the store because we were going all day. She was tired. She was cranky. He had no idea she needed a nap. I needed a nap. And I'm contracting. We're driving back. And at this time, my contractions were getting pretty strong. So we were driving home after getting the guitar, and he wanted to get something for his computer. I mean, really, we did a lot. And she has this meltdown in the middle of the store. I've never seen anybody get so totally humiliated, turned bright red in the face because everybody in the store was looking at us, and he just was not having it, and he walked away, leaving me contracting with a 2-year-old laying on the floor melting. And so we get into the car. I am like livid, and now I have to drive home. And we're on the parkway. Now, I'm a terrible driver as it is, let alone when I'm in labor. And I just looked at him, and I'm like, do you know how to drive a car on the other side of the road? Like, the other side? And he's like, I've never done it. And I'm like, well, I just have to tell you this. I'm having this baby, and I'm having it now. I think he nearly jumped out of the car. I continued in labor all night. I wasn't near delivery. And I think he left my house at like 5:30 in the morning. I don't even think he said goodbye. I think he ran. He was like, later gators, I'm not delivering no babies, because I was contracting the whole night. I was cranky as all hell. And I called Annie. And I'm like, I'm in labor, and Andy just left, and he was cranky. And this is how far we go back. My daughter is in her 20s, and this was the baby that I had. So about a couple of hours later, I did deliver her, and Annie was the one who told everybody in the rescue community that I had finally had my baby, because that was like a rarity there. That I don't even think that the internet was 9 months old, so nobody was experiencing somebody having a baby. Now it's like, oh, baby watch, great, But then it was a bigger deal. So she was the one who did the quote quote baby announcement to everybody, and that's how me and Annie became soul sisters. And I'm about at the end of my time. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I want to wish everybody who's Jewish a happy Passover. Unfortunately, I am not having a Seder tomorrow. I'm going to cook a little bit, but I really don't have the correct food, and I didn't think it warranted me going to the store, God will forgive, to get Passover stuff. And I don't want to sit at a table. I don't want my family sitting around a table together. Right now, we're all separated on different floors, and I don't want anyone near my father, just because 2 of them work. And not that we would love to. Maybe when this is over, we'll do a Passover dinner, but that's that. So I will see you guys tomorrow. We will be doing the skin. I'm going to be finished with everything up to that point, and I hope you guys have a lovely day. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay in. Love you. Bye-bye.